This technical bulletin from Orphan Espresso is concerning the Olympia pressure stat, the old style. This is pressure stat that is used on the Maximatics, the Pasquini Liviettas, Coffex machines, as a matter of fact, Caforex, and the Olympia Cremina. It's built to last, absolutely. This particular one is 20 years old. We've seen them all the way back to 1967 builds that are still functioning just fine. It's a little bit complicated, but very simple to adjust and understand. Two electrical leads down here. This is the adjustment wheel, this brass wheel. As you can see, the pressure stat will function manually just by turning it on and off like this, but when you bleed off some steam, click, boiler element's turned on by this control, and it will turn off when you reach the maximum setting. Now, to set this device, as you can see, I have on my master gauge that I've got on the boiler cap here. The very simple gauge that works just as well is a gauge that you can attach to the steam wand. You have to have a little patience because, as you see, you don't have the capability to manually run it, but it's very economical, handy little accurate gauge if you want to check your pressure setting. Now, the thing to remember is very simple. No clockwise, counterclockwise, righty-tighty, but just as you move your finger across that, as you turn that wheel with your finger pointing toward the boiler, the wheel goes up, the maximum pressure setting goes up. As you bring the wheel back in this direction, the wheel goes down, the maximum pressure setting goes down. That's very, very simple to remember. Wheel goes up in relation to this top brass bar. Wheel goes up, finger toward the boiler, pressure setting goes up. Wheel goes down, pressure setting goes down. Now, I want to talk really quick about a special case that can occur and a little mod that might be able to help you out. Is that sometimes, as you see, there's a spring, a bar. Use this one off of the machine. You can look in here. All right. This acts as a counter spring. There's a spring in this section here. Inside of it is the diaphragm and piston mechanism. This counter spring comes around. Here's the adjustment. This spring, over time, can get work hardened or just tired. And if you reach the point that your adjustment wheel, you keep adjusting it up, and your pressure is 0.85 or 0.6 or 0.7, and you reach the point that you've hit the end of your travel and you can't move that up any further, and your pressure is still too low, there's a little bit of a mod you can do, which involves manipulating the micro switch. It's simple enough. There's two brass screws. You simply hold the nut on the back with your finger. It's a little bit more complicated to assemble than it is to disassemble. And you go ahead and easiest thing to do. Now, I've experimented with trying to bend that chrome horseshoe shaped counter spring, but it really doesn't work. This is a little insulation protector. Now you get a good look in here at this chrome spring bar. Now, if you look at the micro switch itself, you'll see that it's composed of the two contacts. Well, there's three, but you just use the front and the back. Okay, it has this metal bar over the top. The plastic switch is inside. You get a good look at that. You can see, let me put it down here on the background, okay? Now, you see that the very end of this switch, the very end of this metal bar, this just acts as a wear protector against this plastic switch part. The very end is curved, and the top part of this metal tab is the part that impinges on this bar, on the chrome bar that you see. Now, if you take this and let's say you can only adjust it to 0.8, and you feel like your pressure stat's shot, you want to put a mater in it, you feel like, well, this is old technology and it's all worn out. But you can extend the life of this substantially by shortening this metal bar. The way you do that is you just poke it out one way or the other. There's a little pin in there. I generally use my small vise and a hammer, but take my word for it. You can poke this out, which holds in the bar, and then you can shorten this bar as much as you really need to. You can go back almost to the switch, and each millimeter that you remove from this bar, you gain about 1/10 of a bar of pressure setting on your top end. And so that little trick, if you're having problems, if you think your pressure stat is worn out and you're about to give up on it, you can do this little mod by shortening this bar, reinstalling it into the machine, making sure everything is nicely aligned, reinstall the micro switch back into the original pressure stat, put it on the machine, and you'll find that you can have as much as 2/10 of a bar increase in pressure on your old Cremina pressure stat. And that's the tech tip for the Olympia old style pressure stat.